Well, good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us here on Up with Krim. I'm Channing Curtis.
Glad to have you here with us on this Thursday, Friday Eve, pre-Friday, whatever you like to call it. Let's get right to meteorologist Thomas Patrick in the Weather Center. Thomas, do you like to say Friday Eve? We like to say Friday Eve on the show.
I do, and Jeremy actually left me a note this morning. It was like, Happy
what did it
Friday
say?
Eve.
Oh, that's
it's
so
just
nice
like,
of him.
Yeah, it's just like, well, now I have to start calling it, but I needed
go.
an extra cup of coffee on this Friday
Same.
Eve, that's
Same.
for sure. This is going to be one of those days, isn't it? But I don't blame you because it is, once again, pretty cold out there. Those temperatures are well into the 20s. It's kind of like a game of spot the difference between yesterday and today. One of the differences, a bit more cloudy, but that's okay because it might actually hold our temperatures up by maybe a couple degrees compared to yesterday, but that's about where we were in the low to mid 20s, wind chills in the teens. But the other difference is that the winds are out of the southwest instead of the northeast, and that's going to make a big difference by the afternoon hours because it's those northeasterly winds that are just so frigid when we get them. There are those current temperatures. A few spots are in the teens, including Ritzville and Pullman as of right now, and of course the wind chills mostly teens everywhere. I think Deer Park is the lucky one, probably the lightest winds out of all the locations this morning. So partly cloudy, mostly cloudy conditions through the morning hours here as those temperatures are pretty cold. So if you got the heated seats or the heated steering wheel, I know that this is kind of the morning that you're like really glad you got that in your car. But don't worry, this weekend is going to be much warmer, and we're tracking some rain chances along the way as well. We'll help you dodge the rain for this weekend in just a few minutes.
Increasing gas prices have people across our region turning to alternative ways for transportation.
Now, for some, that means carpooling or even biking to work.
It was like $60 from E to full. And that, you know, everything's going up with inflation, but wages really aren't going up. So what do? Buy a bike. You'll save in gas.
So people are also turning to Spokane's transit van pool system. This program allows Eastern Washington residents to create van pool groups and commute to and from work. A flat monthly fee from $60 to $100 covers the van's gas, maintenance, and more. And one writer says it's completely worth the money in the long run.
Before the gas spike, I was paying $40 to $50 a week just in gas, and that doesn't include, you know, the tires and the oil change and everything else. And so they give you a vehicle to use, and so for $60 a month, and that's easily going to pay for itself.
Washington's indoor mask mandate is ending this Saturday.
And that means next week, students in Washington schools won't have to wear a mask in the classroom. So this will actually mark the first time since the pandemic started that students don't have to wear the mask. Spokane Public Health Officer Dr. Frank Velasquez spoke about the end of the mask mandate in schools. He says current trends makes him confident that it is safe for local schools to take off the masks.
If everything continues going the way it's going, we should be able to align with the DOH guidance. And unless there are any specific circumstances in a particular school that require us to provide a different guidance. So, and I do believe that most of our schools are looking forward to that.
So some guidelines that are still in place for schools, and that include vaccine requirements and for staff, as well as quarantine requirements for those exposed to COVID. The state also recommends that schools still attempt social distancing in situations like lunchrooms and common areas. Dr. Frank Velasquez also says the number of COVID hospitalizations in Spokane County is the lowest in a long time.
Now, Eastern Washington University is the latest university to update its mask guidance. They will make mask wearing optional starting March 12th. And the change will include for classrooms, academic and business buildings, as well as residence halls on the Cheney campus and the Catalyst building in Spokane.
Meanwhile, the Washington State Board of Health is expected to decide next month whether to require students to get the COVID vaccine.
So an advisory committee plans to recommend against it. The Committee of Doctors, Health Officers, and Education Leaders was created last fall. It's been looking at whether the COVID vaccine meets all of the criteria needed to be added to the list of required immunizations. In a meeting at the end of last month, many people brought up their concerns.
We've seen short COVID. We've seen COVID within a small time frame, and we haven't seen kind of the the potential after effects of COVID-19 infection.
For those who don't have access to providers, so there definitely is an access and equity issue here for students who will be out of compliance.
Ultimately, 7 members were against the requirement, 6 were for it, and 4 were unsure. The State Board of Health is expected to make a final decision on April 13th.
An update now on the firing of former Spokane County Sheriff Deputy Craig Chamberlain. Sheriff Ozzie Knezovich confirmed to KREM 2 that Chamberlain will not fight his termination. He was fired in mid-February after an investigation into his conduct. According to Knezovich, Chamberlain withdrew his request for a hearing to appeal his termination from the sheriff's office with the civil service. Knezovich told us that the sheriff's office gave Chamberlain the option to retire in lieu of termination, but if he were to do this, Knezovich told him he would have to admit to the allegations against him. Chamberlain did not respond to the offer and withdrew his request for a hearing.
6:06 now, time for your morning rush. More news in less time. Spokane police arrested a 12-year-old student for having a gun on school campus yesterday. School officials got information that a student at Willard Elementary had a gun in the school, and they found a loaded revolver in the 12-year-old's backpack. That student was taken to juvenile detention. Now, police do not believe there was any real threat to other students. Pfizer is now testing a COVID-19 antiviral treatment for children. The drug company announced it has started the second and third test phases for Paxlovid in children ages 6 to 17. The FDA has already authorized Paxlovid for high-risk people who are 12 years old and up and weigh at least 88 pounds. But the latest research will focus on the safety and efficacy for younger kids. Boeing could be planning to request an exemption from a new safety rule set to take effect at the end of the year. The latest version of the company's 737 MAX plane, the MAX 10, is currently being reviewed by the FAA. The Seattle Times reports if the plane is not certified by December 31st, it would have to comply with new cockpit warning system standards. The previous versions of the plane do not have these features. And that's a look at your morning rush.
Right now, flights are cheap and you're probably tempted to book a flight before prices rise. But before you catch your next flight, there are a couple of changes coming to the Spokane International Airport. KREM 2's Malia Kamal joining us from the airport this morning with the details. Good morning, Malia. This is really big news for the airport. What's happening?
Good morning, Tim. Yes, it is huge news, and I can tell you that right now the airport's a little bit slow, but earlier this morning it was packed and it's about to get busier. This is because the Spokane International Airport has announced a new airline and a new nonstop destination. Now, the announcement will come later this morning. So this comes after several new airlines have been added to Spokane in the past few months, giving travelers more options. You may remember AHA Airlines launched service between Spokane and Reno in December, and the Sun County Airlines announced it will start flying between Spokane and Minneapolis in June. According to Larry Crowder, the airport CEO, the Spokane International Airport is rapidly growing, and the numbers prove it. In 2019, Spokane International Airport saw record traffic of more than 4 million passengers. By 2030, the airport expects to serve more than 6.2 million passengers. Crowder says the airport is prepared for the increase.
If you look at our long-range plans, I think the focus on expandability and flexibility is really going to serve the airport well.
Now, coming up later in the show, we will find out which potential airline will be coming to the area. Live in Spokane, Malia Kamal, KREM 2 News.
Well, this leads to our wake-up call. With that new flight being announced, we want to know what destination do you want added to the Spokane Airport. Text us at the number 509-448-2000 or use the hashtag UpWithKREM on social media. We received a few ones in the last few minutes. New Orleans. Ooh. Other people saying Las Vegas. Yeah, yes. Surprisingly, there isn't a direct to Las Vegas. Yeah. And that would be really awesome.
I'm a fan of all of these. Speaking of being a fan, the WSU men's basketball team is going further than they've ever gone in the Pac-12 tournament. Brenna Green joins us with highlights from the Cougs matchup against the Golden Bears.
And the one thing you need to know about today's weather, yes, cold again this morning, but the warmer temperatures are on the way, including by this afternoon. So there you are, waking up in the 20s and teens, but don't worry, it should be around 40 for this afternoon.
And taking a live look outside at Coeur d'Alene on this very chilly Thursday morning, we say good morning to you, Inland Northwest. Let us know where you're watching from this morning. You can text us 509-448-2000.